the example given by the Prophet ﷺ. Our hearts must shiver when we hear of any believing Muslim or Muslimah that is suffering or going through any kind of suffering, any complaint. We should feel feverish. Our temperature should soar, should go high. We should shiver. We should ache. We should not be able to sleep easily. This is the description given, the analogy given by the Prophet. Conclude, inshallah, with 3 stories. One is related to a Sahabi. His name was Talha ibn Ubaydillah. And Talha, at one point in time, he looked gloomy. He looked depressed. He looked upset. And so when he was so upset, his wife came and saw him in this state, and she asked him, what's wrong, Talha? What's the matter? Why are you upset? Why are you gloomy? And he said that in my merchandise today, through my merchants, through my work, I actually got a bonus or got lots of money. And that's it. He said that and he was quiet. He didn't say anything else. He just said, I got lots of money from my merchandise, from selling some merchandise today. And so the wife who's in tune with her husband didn't, rise up happily and say, yes, that's amazing, now we can, buy the pool or do this or do that or go on a vacation. No, she didn't do any of that. She didn't even say, give me the money. Before you spend it on yourself, I'll spend it, on very important jewelry. She didn't do any of that. The wife that's in tune with her husband, she said, dear husband, why does this upset you so? Let's donate it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. That's what she said. She didn't say, let's donate a piece, keep the rest for our children. Let's, just give a small portion or a bit of portion, or let's go get some food first. She didn't say any of that. She said, let's donate it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when she said this, his face all of a sudden, grew light, and he smiled happily. And from this story, we understand so many things that Sahaba used to consider blessing, wealth, a burden, a responsibility. They felt that they had to do something about it. They didn't feel, ecstatic and happy. They felt it was a burden. And the Sahabiyat understood this. And they were in tune with their husbands and knew what was going on. And as well felt that to relieve this burden is to give in charity. SubhanAllah. Another interesting story that actually is narrated to have happened in contemporary times. And we hear in Saudi Arabia many times of how servants were abused, and from the Philippines and from Indonesia and whatnot, how they were abused by their employers. But there are also very interesting, beautiful stories about these employments. It is said that a woman in Saudi Arabia, contemporary times, was diagnosed with cancer. And she was diagnosed with cancer, and she needed someone to help her. And so, she got someone from Indonesia, an older lady, or a lady from Indonesia, to come and be her servant, to be employed as her servant, and to help her out around the house and to serve her because she was diagnosed with cancer. And then this lady, the one diagnosed with cancer, noticed that the Indonesian servant was actually spending a lot of time in the washroom. That every day she would be in the washroom spending a lot of time. And so after some time she started to question her. She said, why are you spending so much time in the washroom? What's going on here? So the servant immediately started to cry. And amidst her tears, she said, I needed the employment, I needed the money, and I had just given birth. So I was forced to leave my child in Indonesia and travel to Saudi Arabia. And every day, I would feel my heart kind of feel this wretched sadness for leaving my son, for leaving my child. I would not be able to do anything but rush to the washroom and weep. And so the woman diagnosed with cancer wept as well. She felt for this sister in Islam. And she immediately gave her contract's worth of pay and sent her back to Indonesia to spend time with her child. The interesting part of the story is that a few days later, this cancer-diagnosed woman went to the doctor for her regular routine check. And the doctor was shocked not to find the cancer anymore. SubhanAllah. And he said, what happened? And he did the test over and over again, saying that something must be wrong. This is impossible. This cannot be. This is not scientific. Cancer is there, it has to be there. Cancer just doesn't go on its own like that. It doesn't happen. You know, you have to go through chemotherapy, all types of different types of therapies to just reduce the cancer, just live with it for a while. But it doesn't go away. They even say that when you do surgery, that doesn't even take the cancer away. But yet he found no trace of it, as if she was never diagnosed with cancer. SubhanAllah. Concluding the story, a very beautiful hadith that says, دَاوُوا مَرْضَاكُمْ بِالصَّبْرِ. Heal and treat your ailments and diseases with charity. SubhanAllah. Final story is that of the Prophet ﷺ. Where it is said that he was given a gift, a full-blown sheep. In today's world, a sheep costs a lot and has a lot of meat, tasty meat for that matter. And so when he was given that sheep, he took it and went home, gave the sheep to his wife, Aisha radiallahu anha. And then later on in the day, he came back and he just came back home. And so you would guess perhaps he's ready to have dinner. And he asked Aisha radiallahu anha, what happened to the sheep? Where is the sheep? And she said, it's all gone, except for the shoulder. That's the part that you, Prophet ﷺ, that you like. So it's all gone. She gave it all in charity, except for the shoulder. These are the few instances where the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have smiled. He smiled. And he said, بَلْ بَقِيَتْ كُلُّهَا إِلَّا. All of it remained, except for this portion, except for this part, this shoulder that you left, that you kept, is the only part that did not remain. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I urge you, inshallah, to make the best of Ramadan, to prepare these few days remaining for Ramadan as best as you can, to welcome the guest with open arms, with an embrace, with a tidy home, with an emotional readiness and a psychological readiness to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you have never worshipped Him before. With that, I also urge you, dear brothers and sisters, to forget the promise of shaitan. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, الشَّيْطَانُ يَعِدُكُمُ الْفَقْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the shaitan promises you poverty. He makes you fear it. And so he makes you stingy and hold on to your wealth and hold on to your money because he promises you poverty. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises you reward. To remember this and to give for the sake of our dear brothers and sisters in Somalia that are suffering. Even an onion, even a loaf of bread. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O Allah, grant us in this life a good deed, in the hereafter a good deed. Forsake us from the torment of the fire. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. اللهم بلغنا رمضان. Allah, enable us to witness Ramadan. اللهم اجعلنا نصوم رمضان إيمانا واحتسابا. Allah, enable us to fast Ramadan true faithfully and with ihtisab. Please.